What's up, y'all? Welcome to American History Gazette. I'm Jake Suggs, and today we are in the oldest city in America. That's right, we are here in the beautiful St. Augustine, Florida, the oldest city in America of European origin. Now, a lot of people think that it was Jamestown or Plymouth Rock that is the oldest city in America, but that is not true. That is true for the British, but Ponce de Leon sailed across the Atlantic in 1513 to claim Florida for Spain, which predates Jamestown by 42 years, and it predates Plymouth by 55 years. So that makes St. Augustine the oldest city of European origin in America, but it was Pedro Menendez who came here in 1565, sent by the Spanish government to root out the French garrison near Jacksonville and to set up a Catholic missionary and a Catholic settlement here in St. Augustine. And that's when the St. Augustine settlement was founded. This city is so rich in history, it's so beautiful. There's a ton to see here and to do, and we are going to take you guys to these places and, of course, talking about the history and glory of it all. Now, I'm actually near the spot where Ponce de Leon first landed in Florida in 1513. There's a statue here to commemorate him and all his glory here on the coastline of St. Augustine. Right now we're at the most infamous attraction here in St. Augustine, and that is the beautiful Castillo de San Marcos fort. This fort was built in 1695 to protect from pirates and colonial raids and hostile Native Americans here in Florida, making it the oldest fort here in continental America. It is absolutely beautiful. It's massive. The view here of the Matanzas River is gorgeous. You can see the Bridge of Lions, tons of sailboats here in the river. We're going to go inside the fort. We're going to talk about the history of it all. We're going to show you all of it. It's going to be awesome. Now, pretty amazing fact here, this fort has never been taken in battle. You can imagine with the British colonies so close, they have tried to attempt to take this fort many times, and they have sacked the town of St. Augustine many times. They burned it to the ground in 1702, but this fort has never been taken in battle. In 1763, after the Treaty of Paris at the end of the French and Indian War, it was transferred over to the British, but this fort was not taken in battle. It was surrendered over by the Spanish. And then at the end of the American Revolution in 1783, the Second Treaty of Paris gave the colony of Florida, the colony of St. Augustine, back to the Spanish in 1784. So the Spanish held it until 1821, when they were busy with the Napoleonic Wars. They decided to give it to America. So Florida became an American territory in 1821, and Spanish rule from then on out was non-existent here in Florida. So it's a pretty amazing fact that this fort has never been taken in battle, despite many conflicts with the British throughout history. Now, this fort here is built out of something called coquina, which is a mixture of limestone and broken seashells. Limestone is obviously the bedrock here in Florida, so it's very abundant, but this material is very good at absorbing cannon fire. It can absorb the impact of the cannons and make it very good for defense. Obviously, it has stood the test of time, having stood here for almost 400 years, so it was definitely a very good material to build the fort out of. So coquina is what Castillo de San Marcos is built out of. Now, if you go over in the corner of the fort here, you can see they have these little watchtowers, and guards would be stationed out here to be watching out over the Matanzas River behind me to see if any oncoming attacks by the British were on the way. So let's give you a view of what that would have looked like. Here you can see what it would have been like to be a soldier here in the fort as the British sacked and burned the town of St. Augustine in 1702. A 2-month-long siege, but they were never able to take the fort. Quite amazing. Can you imagine being right here, standing, looking out over the town of St. Augustine, burning, while you are stuck here in the fort, defending it in battle? Pretty amazing. All right, I am here with a colonial soldier, a real-life colonial soldier who would have lived here in the fort in colonial era. So tell me, what would it have been like, everyday life here in the fort during the colonial times?
Well, I'm a Spanish soldier. I'm from the late 1600s, and I represent the time when we built the Castillo in 1672, 351 years ago. And in my day, there's no uniforms. I don't even wear a uniform. And as Spanish soldiers, we don't even live in the fort. We all live in town.
Really?
Yeah. If you saw the guard room in there with the beds, we need soldiers in here 24/7. Be about 15 of them during peacetime. Other than that, we live in town. Any given work day, there's only going to be about 30 or 40 soldiers in the fort, maximum. We have second jobs. We don't get paid much. Only once a year if we're lucky.
Wow, and what would it have been like when you saw the British coming down the Matanzas River ready to attack the fort? What was the battle protocol here at the fort?
Well, in my time frame, when we first built this fort, the walls were about 7 feet shorter. The rooms you see didn't exist. We had other kinds of rooms that were about 13 feet off the wall and slanted roofs you couldn't walk on. What the British did is they landed about 2 miles north of here. They marched down. We know we can't hold them off. We only have 300 soldiers. They have over 1,000 coming from Charleston during the War of Spanish Succession. So the governor tells everybody in town to come in here, build huts. They build building materials. We had 1,500 people in here, 1,200 civilians, 300 soldiers for 51 days. We also had just over 100 head of cattle and all kinds of pigs and chickens. So where do you think we put all them animals?
Where?
In the moat. The moat's always dry. It's a dry moat. You see what's growing in the moat? Grass. You see what the critters eat? What do you think those cows eat? Can we eat them? Yeah.
That is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much. It's an honor.
It's a pleasure.
I highly recommend when you guys come here to come during the winter time because it is a cool 60 degrees out right now, clear blue skies. It is absolutely beautiful outside here overlooking the river. Florida can get pretty hot in the summer, so this is a walking city. You're going to be walking around a lot and that heat will beat down on you. So if you'd like to get a good workout, maybe come during the summer. But if you'd like an enjoyable experience, the winter is the time to come here in Florida. All right, we are here outside the Fountain of Youth Archaeological Park. This is believed to have been the spot where Ponce de Leon came and found the Fountain of Youth that he was searching after. And we're actually here with the man himself, the founder of Florida. This is Sir Ponce de Leon. Ponce, do you have any wise words for all of the folks out there?
Subscribe to American History Gazette and sign up for the Patreon for exclusive content and to support the channel.
Wow. You heard it here first, folks. These are some very wise words from the founder of Florida himself, Sir Ponce de Leon. Let's go inside and let's check it out. All right, this is the actual site, Ponce de Leon's Fountain of Youth, that he discovered in 1513, and we're going to take a sip out of the Fountain of Youth. All right. Tastes like immortality, if you ask me. All right, y'all, we are here on Aviles Street. This is the oldest street in America. Now here in St. Augustine, St. George Street gets a lot of the love. That's the touristy spot. That's where all the shops and restaurants are. But here is where the history is. Here is where we want to be. This is the oldest street in America. Can you believe it? We're walking on it. Amazing. All right, we are here at the Plaza de la Constitución. This is a pretty interesting spot. Right behind me, right where I'm standing, is actually the oldest public space in America. You could call this the oldest park in America. It was created in the late 1500s. Absolutely remarkable. It's beautiful. You got these nice big oak trees with a nice canopy. This obelisk here that you see was erected in 1813 to celebrate the Spanish Constitution of 1812. So this is right in the heart of downtown St. Augustine. Quite an interesting little spot. I bet you people don't know. This is the oldest public space in America, which is pretty cool. All right, y'all, we're out front of Flagler College here in St. Augustine, Florida. This is probably my favorite place to see here in St. Augustine. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. The camera just does not do it justice. This place is massive. It was actually built by Henry Flagler as a hotel, the Ponce de Leon Hotel, in 1888. This was the first hotel he built here in St. Augustine to bring tourism and business to the area. But it is just absolutely beautiful. You guys have to come to St. Augustine to check this place out. It is still a working, functioning, operating college. The college was founded in 1968. There's still college students walking around everywhere. But I mean, absolutely massive and just beautiful. We're gonna go try to see if we can check it out inside, see if there's any cool stuff to show you guys. Here's a statue of the man himself, Henry Flagler, out front of his most beautiful creation, Flagler College. As you can see here, guys, a nice picture of what it would have been like in the early 1900s, maybe late 1800s, to be sitting out in that courtyard you just saw as a nice, wealthy traveler at the Ponce de Leon Hotel here in St. Augustine. You can see they're all dressed in suits and fancy dresses. A lot different from today's society, but very interesting nevertheless. Now, this is actually the exact framing of that photograph you just saw on the wall of the early 1900s society. So not much has changed over the years here at Flagler College, the Ponce de Leon Hotel, except for the people who attend. All right, y'all, we're here in front of the Leitner Museum, one of the most infamous attractions here in St. Augustine. It's formerly known as the Hotel Alcazar, built by Henry Flagler in 1888. It opened its doors on Christmas Day in 1888, and it operated as a hotel until 1931, where it closed its door for nearly 40 years until 1972, when it opened its doors as a museum by a man named Leitner. So we're gonna go inside and check out all these cool artifacts for you guys. Here's that man we were talking about earlier, Sir Pedro Menendez. the man who first set foot here in St. Augustine in 1565 to create a Spanish Catholic colony out front of the Leitner Museum. Now, as soon as you walk through the gates back there, you will be greeted by an absolutely beautiful courtyard here. I will warn you, if you do come, there are weddings quite often. There's actually one going on right now. Don't want to invade on anyone's privacy, but this courtyard's absolutely beautiful. We have a little pond and a nice little bridge, so highly recommend you guys come check it out. There probably will be a wedding going on. False alarm. Admission stop at 3:30. It is currently 3:40. So we couldn't get in, but we will be back tomorrow. So you guys will get to see all the cool artwork that is in there. So, all right, y'all. We are back at the Leitner Museum, formerly the Hotel Alcazar. It is now an art museum here, and it is before 3:30. So we are going to go check it out and show y'all. If you guys love artifacts or art or interior design or furniture or just any of that artistic kind of stuff, this place is your spot. There is a ridiculous amount of artifacts and jewelry and glassware here. It's just absolutely beautiful. All right, y'all, we are outside the oldest schoolhouse in America. This is the oldest wooden schoolhouse in America. It's just inside the city gates there, and it is the oldest wooden schoolhouse in America. Can you believe it? Now, the exact construction of this building is not known, but it first appears on tax records in 1716. It's almost 300 years old. So let's go inside and let's see what it looks like. As you just saw there, that was the oldest wooden schoolhouse in America. Consider it the oldest classroom in America. Very rudimentary. No smartphones, no computers, not even a chalkboard. And that just shows you that the pursuit of knowledge always trumps the lack of resources and the lack of technology throughout human history. And that's why we're here today. Because people have strove, pursued for more knowledge, more wisdom, so that they can create beautiful places like this. Everything around you that you call life was created by someone no smarter than you are. The Steve Jobs quote for you, your daily motivation, I guess you could consider it. So always, 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 always be striving for more knowledge. Be striving to learn something new, because it will make you a better person and it will make the world a better person. But that is the oldest schoolhouse in America, and that second little room is the oldest kitchen. So that was the kitchen for the schoolhouse, and now we're in the courtyard here. Just a really neat, beautiful little spot. All right, these right here are the original city gates to the colony of St. Augustine. This is the only access you get to the colony through their defensive line to prevent attackers and colonizers. It was opened in 1739. It's almost 300 years old. The original gates to the Spanish St. Augustine settlement. Pretty neat. All right, y'all, here's just a visualization of what those city gates would have looked like back in the day. Colonists bringing food and crops into the city gates. As you can see, you got guards there to protect it. And the Castillo de San Marcos fort off in the distance there. Can't imagine what life would have been like back then. Pretty cool. All right, y'all, right outside the city gates that we were just at is the Huguenot Cemetery. This is an extremely old cemetery, and in 1884, they ceased burials here. So all of these headstones that you see were born or buried prior to 1884, which is pretty remarkable. This is a very, very old cemetery here. All right, y'all, I'm here outside the Cathedral Basilica of St. Augustine. It was constructed in 1797, and it is one of the oldest Catholic churches in America. It is absolutely beautiful, as you can see, and we're about to go inside and check it out. Now, we are here at another one of my favorite places here in St. Augustine. This is the Memorial Presbyterian Church. It is just absolutely breathtaking from the outside. That copper dome you see on top was imported from Italy. Henry Flagler actually built this place in 1889 and dedicated it to his deceased daughter who had just died from childbirth at sea. It's absolutely beautiful. And if you want to guess the price tag on this place, I bet you're going to be a little off. It's only $250,000 to construct this church back in 1889. You'd be lucky to find a nice rundown house for $250,000 nowadays, especially here in Florida. So pretty surprising how different times were back then, but this church is absolutely beautiful. I don't know if we can go inside. Alright, we're here outside of the infamous St. Augustine Lighthouse. Now this lighthouse was built in 1874, making it exactly 150 years old, but it was originally a watchtower built in 1589 to look out for any incoming ships to attack the fort. So we're going to go climb up and we're going to show you what it looks like from the top of the St. Augustine Lighthouse. Here's the oil room, and as you can see down here, the little oil bucket, the lighthouse keeper would have to carry this 25-pound bucket up the 219 steps to the top to keep the light going every hour, every 2.5 hours throughout the night. So you can imagine as a lighthouse keeper waking up every 2.5 hours to carry this bucket all the way to the top. Not the easiest job in the world, but let's go ahead and climb up now and see what it looks like. All right, y'all, that wraps up our 2-day adventure of the oldest city in America, the beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. It was an absolutely history-filled, wild, beautiful adventure. We saw a lot of cool places. We did a lot of cool things. I'd love to travel more for this channel. It's my dream to be able to travel across the country and visit all these historic places and be able to show you these historic places that are oftentimes underappreciated. And we need your support in order to do this. So please go consider signing up for our Patreon. It's only $2.99 a month. You'll see weekly exclusive clips from our podcast that don't get posted on YouTube, just for our Patreon members. So go check that out. And as always, subscribe, like, and hit the bell. If you've watched till the end of the video, I love you, I appreciate you, and I'll see you in our next adventure.